High-powered ministerial delegation still locked in marathon meeting over KNUST violence as the university insists they cannot open the school anytime soon.
No date has been fixed for the reopening of the university because many things would have to be put in place before the reopening. Most especially what led to the rioting. There have been a lot of distraction all over.
Tonight, the Asante Hamilton Force 32 has called for calm as combined team of military and police enforce a directive for all students to leave campus. We are live in Kumasi tonight, both from campus and from the Regional Coordinating Council, where the high-powered ministerial delegation is still locked in a marathon meeting. Plus, we have the latest on reports that the KNUST Vice-Chancellor has resigned.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond, CIMG Savings and Loans Company of the Year, Gas and Cement, the Nation Builder, Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready, and Nationwide Medical Health Insurance, Best Health Insurance Company of the Year, the 2018 Ghana Insurance Awards, and its CEO awarded Woman of Excellence at the Ghana Insurance Awards. It's been another busy day in the Ashanti regional capital where a high-powered ministerial delegation has been in an emergency meeting all day over the violence on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. As many as 30 vehicles were yesterday destroyed, some set ablaze. Other university property was vandalized as the students protested against what they believe to be oppression by school authority. The ongoing emergency meeting is being chaired by the Education Minister, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and it also has National Security Minister Kandapa, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah, and the KNUST Vice Chancellor Obri Danso, plus other interested parties. An earlier briefing with members of the KNUST leadership failed to fix a date for the reopening of the school, which was shut down yesterday. Thankfully, we've just been joined on the line right now by the Information Minister designate, Mr. Nkrumah. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Top Story. So what briefings have you received so far about what happened yesterday and what might have triggered it?
Evans, good evening. Thanks. We've been having a series of meetings with various stakeholders. The meetings are still ongoing. We haven't finished piecing the final report together. We'll have to do that before we can come to a clear conclusion on the timeline of events. Until then, I can't give you any further details.
I know it's been a long day. Who has been in the meeting generally, and what sort of conversations have been happening? Have you had student representatives part of the meeting, for example? Who else has been talking?
The delegation led by the Minister for Education has been primarily interested in understanding what has transpired so far. You do know that the universities are semi-autonomous and ordinarily run their own affairs. The events of the last 24 hours demonstrate to us that the matters have gone beyond the university leadership to handle. And that's why the Education Minister and other members of the government delegation have been engaging with the Regional Security Council, representatives of the University Council, representatives of the university management, and student leaders to get an understanding of what the teething issues are for each side, and to begin to plot a path out of this. Obviously, as I mentioned, the events of the last 24 hours have demonstrated that on their own they have not been able to handle it, and it's important now for external agencies to come in and resolve the matters for them.
And in these briefings that has been going on all the way since morning, I wonder if, I know there's been a meeting at the Regional Coordinating Council, is there a plan to go on to campus and see things for yourselves? Yeah,
one team has already been to campus and has brought back some feedback that is, may I say, input into these meetings that have been going on, also to validate some of the initial reports that have come or have been flying all over the media. They help us come to a certain understanding of the sequence of events and what has transpired, and most importantly, in what needs to be done before the university is reopened.
And I guess the biggest thing that will be on the agenda is how soon can the university be reopened? How close are you to making that decision?
it is one of the issues on the agenda. The other issue has also got to do with what the key issues for the various sites are and how do those key issues get resolved. Because you can reopen the university tomorrow, but if the key issues have not been dealt with, you may have a certain resurgence of violent activity. So it's important in one breath while you discuss how and when to reopen the university and what sort of precursors must occur before you reopen. It's also important to get a clear understanding of what the pain points for each side are and how to once and for all resolve those pain points.
And I guess we just been speaking to the university on what has been happening. Their main concern is security for staff and other workers in the university. And I know the National Security Minister is part of the meeting. What assurances are they getting?
Well, like I said, the matters that are being discussed in detail, I won't be disclosing them to you right now until we are done and we piece the full picture together and the next steps together. But suffice to say that the interest of government at this stage is that as it has become obvious that the university authorities have not been able to handle the issues that came up, it now becomes, may I say, quite clear that a third party needs to come in and to help resolve these matters. So the general assurance is that our interest is to help resolve the matters that have caused the precipitation of these activities once and for all.
Has the student leadership been part of these meetings or further consultations or planned going forward?
Yes. They have been part of it, and I must say that all sides have been pretty cooperative. So all their cards there, also recognizing actions and inactions, and it is based on these various observations and acknowledgements that would then be able to plot a path forward.
And very lastly, I remember I was in Washington when the president was asked a question about, and from the university alumni, about this conversion of some of the mill halls to mixed halls, and he said that he is giving some directive for this to be dialogue to be reopened, and a second look taking at it. I don't know whether how has that come up in the conversations at all, because people say that is the genesis of all this.
I don't think so. Indeed, if you listen to the various parties, the genesis of the matters go even a bit before the very recent agitations. But you do know, as I mentioned earlier, these universities are semi-autonomous. You can ask council to take a second look at a particular matter. You can nudge council to look at a particular matter. But because of their semi-autonomy, they are supposed to handle it at their own level. It is, unfortunately, as things have gotten out of hand, which is evidence that that has not been successful, that you now are required to come in and literally tackle it as is now.
So finally, when do you hope that all this will be wrapped up and the communication clearly done for, I guess, anxious parents and students and university community, everybody to, I guess, rest assured that there's a clear roadmap to reopening the school and fixing the challenges with security on campus?
I like to stand from timelines, but I think that as soon as possible, our instructions are clear, which is to get an understanding and a roadmap out of this challenge. And as soon as possible, once we come to that conclusion, we would inform the nation and all stakeholders accordingly.
I'm grateful that you joined us. Information Minister Designate, still that meeting is underway. He just stepped out to talk to us, give us an update. I guess the major takeaway from what he says that there's a general agreement that the university authorities have failed to handle this, and it's gone beyond them as at this stage, and that has necessitated the external intervention we're seeing currently from the Education Minister, who's chairing the meetings. And of course, he reiterates a point about universities being semi-autonomous, and the sort of meetings that the Education Minister is sharing will only be triggered if there's a sense that in the community, the university itself is unable by themselves to handle the situation, such as we saw yesterday. In fact, we've been speaking also to the university relations officer, who, of course, the university itself has been briefing the ministerial delegation. Their position is clear that fixing a date for reopening itself, it's far-fetched, because they have concerns that first must be addressed. Listen to the university relations officer, Kwabena Yeboah Jr., speaking to my colleague, Erastus Asari Donko.
The university briefed the team, the regional security coordinating team, including the Minister for Education, about what actually happened, the antecedents to that. And then there were discussions as to how best things could be resolved as quickly as possible for the university to be reopened. So in the interim, as an institution, Council is going to meet on the issue, and then as quickly as possible see how best certain things could be put together so that the university can be reopened. What I can say is no date has been fixed for the reopening of the university because many things would have to be put in place before the reopening.
Many things like...
Most especially what led to the routing. Definitely some people thought the mixing of the hall is the problem. As we can all see, there have been a lot of distraction all over, and there is a need to put all these things together and then have the university reopened for academic work to begin.
There are reports out there that the Vice-Chancellor has resigned. Officially, what can you tell us?
It should be disregarded. This is the figment of somebody's imagination.
And you heard him there address the rumors making rounds today on social media that the Vice-Chancellor has resigned. Well, the University Relations Officer there is emphatic and categorical that is not true, disregarded, a figment of somebody's imagination, he says. Let's go live to the KNUST campus. Let's speak to Erastus Asare Donko, been covering this for us since yesterday. Erastus, another key block of this unfolding story in KNUST is the directive issued yesterday by the Ashanti Regional Security Council that all students must vacate the university premises by midday today. It's several hours after midday. Has the directive been observed?
I must say it has been observed to a large extent because majority of the students have left campus since morning, and they keep going in batches. I mean, some of the student leaders brought in buses, and they keep loading and going, and more students are bringing their bags, their luggages out. You can see that across all the halls of residents, and so yes, largely that has been observed.
But admittedly, there are some students still on campus?
Yes, there are still many students on campus, especially the Unity Hall area, the Republic Hall area, the Queen's Hall. You find people, students who are still in the halls as at 1 p.m. This afternoon. Some of them are packing up. Some of them are also walking around on campus.
We still have the military and police men armed still on campus?
Exactly. We have a number of military personnel. The number was beefed up in the morning. They brought in more, about 20 of them, to beef up what they had in the morning. And so when you go to the administration block, you still see military men, armed military men who are stationed there permanently. You go to other halls too, you find some of them camped over there. Some of them are also patrolling the area. There are also some armed policemen as well who joined the Operation Palm Life, and so you could see the vehicle patrolling the entire campus.
And we are some 15 minutes away from the curfew, the second day of the curfew coming into force. And we know from yesterday's directive that international students will be allowed to stay on campus. Yesterday, by this time, you were reporting that students were running all over the place trying to beat the curfew. What's the situation with that? But also, I'm interested in the international students. I don't know if you've interacted with any of them and how they're taking all this.
Well, yes, the international students, majority of them are based at the Brunei hostels, which is on campus. And so, yes, they are around, and they also have their own stake in this whole affair. Some of them also share the sentiments of the students. Some of them also have mixed feelings about how the demonstration went. But the majority of them are not a part of what is going on, and they stay indoors as they've been commanded. So the curfew applies to them as well. And as it gets to 6 p.m., many of the students are the ones who are trying to either get out of campus or hurry back to their halls. If they are found gallivanting around, it will be something different.
The students have been, in the last few days, accusing the private security of the KNUST of brutalizing them. In fact, many say something happened last week Friday where the campus security brutalized a few students. Some of them had to be hospitalized and served as the spark for what we saw yesterday. Today, you've been interacting with some of the private security. They have a different story to tell.
Exactly. I have seen some of the videos of one particular student who clearly you could see bumps, several of them on the head, risen to that level, and it shows he has been hit severally with an object on the head, with blood oozing from the ears. But then, surprisingly, when we went to the security post with the Bantu Mahene, after the Bantu Mahene had left, then they came up violently, attacking one of the journalists, indicating that he passed a comment that they did not like. And so he hit his head with a mobile phone he was holding. And then it nearly degenerated into another violence at that particular area. And some of them throwing tantrums that they do not like the kind of reportage that the media have put out. They were talking about me, for instance, and some other media houses, Angel FM and other stations. We can listen to some of them.
To you guys? What did they do to you guys?
Coming for this town on Friday, they throw a big stone on me here, my stomach. I'm even planning to go for X-ray. So these mob boys will quick kill us.
So they attacked you guys here?
They attack us. They attack us. They attack us. The first day we went there, they attack us. We run and they chase us with stones. So we should be sitting down for this mob boy to kill us.
And you know, it appears like some of the students feel that we are their enemies, but we are not enemies to them. We protect them, we do everything to protect them. You understand? But we also want them to understand that there are some miscreants among them, so they should help us to fish them out. You understand? And that is all.
They claim you guys beat them and torture them when you bring them
It wasn't
over.
true. It wasn't true. We never beat any student. We are here to protect them, basically. You understand?
They did not beat any of the students?
No.
They have pictures and videos of people
There
who
are
have been beaten.
miscreants who are even coming from outside. Yes, sir.
So, Rastus, their side of the story is that they rather are victims, that the students rather attack them, correct?
Yes, and some of them showed us swollen arms and some cuts on the head and all that to buttress their point that they are also victims of beatings from these students who have been throwing stones at them. But they denied ever beating these students. But the students also have several videos where some students are seen physically in the videos being beaten with sticks and batons and all that. And so at this point, you do not know who is actually saying what.
And that is the interesting thing that this meeting that's currently underway is trying to resolve. But I know that the private security, the KNUST private security, they've all been withdrawn now, correct?
They've all been withdrawn and they are not at post anymore at all. It's pending review, and currently the police and the military have taken over.
Erastus, I'm grateful that you joined us. Fascinating reporting there. Excellent work. Erastus Donko reporting live from the KNUST campus. Let's speak to the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Dr. Eric Opoku-Mensah. They issued a statement early today, of course, asking for appropriate measures to be taken to fix the problem that is happening in the KNUST. Dr. Eric Opoku, I'm grateful that you joined us. You've heard the various sides on this matter. In fact, there have been several calls coming from all over that the university authority particularly the Vice Chancellor, should be held responsible for what happened because of the high-handed nature they've treated the students and that they've been dictatorial in their dealings with the students. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that first of all, what I would like to say, UTAG condemns what has happened on the campus of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and that we want to encourage everybody to remain calm in this current situation as management together with other stakeholders deliberate to bring sanity onto the campus. It's rather unfortunate that calls are coming from certain individuals, on social media platforms and, media discussions that the Vice Chancellor should. It seems that some people do not really understand how our university governance system is like. The university is governed by a council, and that council comprises 4 members who are representative of government. One of them is the chair. And I think that with respect to the issue that has brought about this whole, confusion, it is something that was brought before the governing council, and the governing council took a decision. The governing council has a student representative. The Vice Chancellor is also a representative of management on the council. And therefore, if the council has taken a decision and the students have reacted in a certain way and has led to all of this, it's rather unfortunate. But the entire blame cannot be laid at the doorstep of the Vice Chancellor. I think that these calls are unnecessary, and UTAG's position is that the council should be given space to interrogate the issue at hand and to look forward to the future as to the way they will bring about sanity and peace to make sure that teaching and learning and research continue in this important university. What is happening now is unfortunate, and there are major stakeholders on the international level who are watching and monitoring what is going on. There are many international students, as your reporter indicated, who are still on campus. And people take serious cues from these things. If we send signals around the world that external elements can come in and make pronouncements which get effect, on the ground, then they tend to believe that our universities are really not autonomous and all of that. Nobody is saying that individuals or major stakeholders or citizens cannot comment on issues that happen in the university.
Yeah.
But I think that because of the statute that governs our university, if there is anything that the Vice Chancellor has done when investigations are conducted, if there's anything that is done untoward, I think that the governing council has the mandate and the right to call the Vice Chancellor to book and decide what should happen to the university.
You make that point, but we heard from the information minister designate who came out of that emergency meeting, that's still underway, and he made the point that there's some agreement, some understanding at that meeting that what is happening on campus has gone beyond the ability of the university as an autonomous institution to control, and that it has necessitated external intervention, which is what we see in the minister currently chairing a committee to try and fix a problem. Won't you agree with that?
I do not agree with that. In fact, when universities began in Ghana, it was the president who was the chancellor. And the president, delegated that function, and therefore every university in Ghana seems to have a chancellor. And because government has the sole responsibility of governing public universities, that is why there's the statutes allow government to choose 4 representatives. One of them becomes the chairman. So through the chair, whatever government wants to do on every university campus, government does so effectively through the governing council.
But Dr. Areku-Poku, if you look at the current context within which the information minister was speaking, we are talking about a security threat which has led to an imposition of a curfew. These things are not within the domain of a university. It's left with a national security apparatus. And the point is he makes there is that because of what happened yesterday, it's gone beyond the university now to fix the problem, and that's why we're going to see, I guess, state intervention.
And I think that it is important that when such occurrences, unfortunate occurrences, happen, it's important that security are brought in, and it's important.
Hello, Dr. Eric Opoku. Hello, sir. We'll try and reconnect and hear him on his position against what we heard from that ministerial delegation, that meeting that is still underway, by the way. Another thing that's happened today, the Otumfuo II has sent his emissary to the university campus to assess things for himself. Remember that he is the chancellor of the KNUST. He has called for calm following the visit today by his rep, Bantamahene Bafo Asare Amokwei the Sixth. Listen to him.
Can say all the parties, fielding parties, the person at this point to be exercising restraint, to be nyabutre, na nanom, ebe buabai, ebe transi.
What he's been saying is that Otumfuo is out of the country. They have come here to assess the situation, look at the devastation and everything, and so that they will be able to brief Otumfuo when he arrives. But he's also saying that the Asantuma Council is going to invite the two fielding parties, the SRC, the student body, the university authorities, and they are going to sit down with them, hear both sides, and be able to dissect the issues, solve amicably whatever it is, together with government. And the most important thing he's talking about that they need is that the university will be open within a possible short time so that the students can return to school, and that is what they want. And again, he was talking about if people have grievances, he says that the best way to do is to perhaps go to the Asantuma Council, table your grievances before them, and have them solve your issues for you. But violence is never the solution to any of the issues that people have.
That's the rep of the Otumfuo, Bantamahene Bafo Asare Amokwei the Sixth. I just been managed to get back on the line, Dr. Rikopo. Dr. Rikopo, you're making the point about the school situation, and I was putting to you the position of the from the meeting so far, which is we lost him on the line again. Okay, but we'll see if we could reach him back. But this has been top story on Joy 99.7 FM. That meeting is still underway in Kumasi. The meeting once is done, we'll hear what the decision has been. But the meeting is currently being chaired by the Education Minister Malcho Opoku Prempeh. We also have Kandapa, who is the National Security Minister, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, who you had speak to us here on Top Story. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah and the KNU's Vice Chancellor Obiri Danso, plus other interested parties are all locked up in this meeting. They expect that after this they will visit the campus and assess things for themselves. Curfew starts in the next few seconds on the KNUST campus. Meanwhile, the students have been observing a directive for them to pack out, whilst the military and police enforce that directive. I want to stay with us because we have the latest on this. Once that meeting ends, we'll bring you the very latest and the outcome to the decision taken by that meeting. My name is Evan Spencer. Top Story is always brought to you by Bond. It's also brought to you by Gasem, Vodafone, and Nationwide. News Night starts right now.